Hello, everybody. Thank you for being patient with us. We are on Zoom now. We've migrated from the virtual studio, and Risa, charming, lovely person that she is, who is grace under fire, and I have a lot to learn from her. Thank you so much for being patient, and we are ready to go live now on Zoom. Risa, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you for having me now.
You are such a pleasure to be with. And I just want to just dive right in. We don't want to wait any longer. And just tell us something about yourself. Please explain first, though, your beautiful name.
So my name is Risa Haasbroek, and I'm from South Africa of Dutch descent. That's why I have that very funny last name, and it trips up Americans all the time. A is a little bit weird spelling. English-speaking people are not used to. Yes, I'm originally from South Africa, but I've been in... Hi, Rich, she joined us. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
I've been in the US for 10 years now. What, you want me to continue? Do you have more questions?
Yes. Oh, yes, we absolutely do. Yes, and so just say your name, first and last name. I just love the sound of it.
Risa Haasbroek.
Okay.
And ever since I've been in America, I discovered that Risa is Spanish for smile. And
I'll take it. It's appropriate for you, especially with the coaching that you do with leaders of large companies, large and small companies, and getting them to a place in their minds, but also in their lives where they can really optimize themselves. So you are a happiness coach.
Yeah, I think I would call myself that. And sometimes we think of happiness as almost something shallow. But if that's the driving force in your life, if you are doing things from a happy place, everything works better. And we discount that. We discount the power of looking for positive and beautiful feelings that we can create our businesses from. That's what I'm all about. But I'm not a positive Polly. It's a little bit more complicated than that. It's not that you want to be positive all the time. It's realizing where your emotions are coming from, and that you're the one that can, I don't even want to say control, the one that can manage them. Manage your emotions in a way that they serve you better. And that's where the whole dragon whisperer thing is coming from. For me, that's your emotions. And sometimes they can really trip people up. And realizing, oh, I'm creating them so I can change them if I wanted to. And emotions in and of themselves really are not they're not harmful. They can be uncomfortable, but they can't really hurt you. So realizing that it has had a great impact on my own life. And I see it with my clients as well. Once they get that, life becomes just so much easier.
Yes. So walk us through your journey as you decided to become a happiness coach and help people manage their dragons.
So I started my first business just after we came to the US for one reason only. I wanted to be able to live in the same country as my children. My children came with us. I had 2 teenagers at that time. I could see that they would settle in America and I would have to go back to Africa. Of course, we do have pension in South Africa, but because of the exchange rate between the 2 countries, it's not worth much in the US. So I could see myself, only seeing my children once a year or every second year even, because it's an 18-hour flight to South. It's far away. So I started a business. I decided, how can I get an income? And you start with something So I created a language course for people in South Africa. And that's something I knew. I knew people it was in the homeschool community because I homeschooled my children. So I knew people there, and that's how I got started. But I soon realized if you want to get on the best self-development program ever, start your own business. Challenges, there are so many things that you learn about yourself. You almost meet your own edges, the own edges of your personality, and that was definitely true for me. So I made so many mistakes at the beginning, and I was almost ready to give up when I heard a podcast interview. That's why I like interviews so much. This life coach, and she explained the mindset part of it. And if you get that right, suddenly my business, it just became so much easier. And when I sold the business, I was only working 6 hours a week instead of 60, but I doubled my income. Mostly because I wasn't stressing about the past and worrying about the future, when I was able to do a lot less work and enjoy it so much more, I realized, but I want to teach other people how to do that. So I got certified as a life coach, and then I got the opportunity to coach for Russell Brunson, you know, the ClickFunnels guy.
Oh, yes.
That was business related. And then I discovered, oh, that's actually what my passion is. It's like helping business people. I'm interested in business. I started my own business. So I learned so much about webinars and marketing and Facebook Lives and all the things. So that year that I coached in Russell's program was amazing, because I got to meet so many wonderful entrepreneurs and helping them. You know, I could see how they got in there like I did at the beginning, by stressing yourself out, by worrying about things that you don't have to worry about. And then Russell is amazing. He's such a generous person. When there were 20 of us momentum coaches, that's how they called us. That we were the mindset coaches. So we were not helping people with strategy and technique so much, but with the mindset part, you know, the emotion part. And after a year, he decided not to renew our contract. But actually, we were not supposed to reach out to the people we were coaching. Those were his clients, you know, so you're not going to just, it felt unethical. But then he gave us permission to do that. He said, go ahead, contact those people. I'm not going to keep including the mindset part in my program, but you can reach out to these people. And then I started coaching him, and his name is Hunter Thompson, and he's in the real estate business. And it's amazing if you look back and you connect the dots, how everything worked out for me. But while I'm in it, like for all of us, like the technical issues we had tonight, it seems as if we are getting nowhere. But it's only when you look back, when you realize that everything worked out for the best. So I was on Hunter's stage earlier this year. I spoke at a big event in front of 1,000 people. So I'm so excited to share the things, because it made such a big difference for me in my business, but also in my personal life. And it's that seeing that power you have over your own experience of anything, whether it's stress or things not working out or technical issues.
Can you distinguish for us then the event and our experience of it, and how we can leverage that distinction for ourselves? It sounds like something that you work very hard, I think, with your clients in this area.
Yes.
So it'd be great to learn a little bit more from you.
Okay, let's take our little hiccup tonight. That's a circumstance, and you didn't have control over it, and I didn't. So we can think of it like, oh, that was a disaster. It should not have happened, and so many people registered, and they won't be able to see it now. But we don't really know, and we can't control the outcome of things. And that is also almost liberating, to realize that you're not so much in control as you think, but the thing that you are in control over is your reaction, not even your reaction, your response to circumstances. So, I mean, I can reframe this and tell myself it's an intimate setting, and now that we have a recording of this, and perhaps, you know, it's like even the algorithm, more people will see it. You don't know what's going to happen. But if we get all worked up about something that's not working, you like drop 30 IQ points. You cut yourself off from your own wisdom, from your own insight. So it's so important to get back home. Let's call it home. When you are fully present, and how I know it is, I have a sense of expansiveness, of curiosity. I want to know, I want to find out where something is going. So, you know, when you are in a clear mindset by the flavor of the emotion you experience. So when you get all caught up and stiffen, that's not a good time to almost even trust your own thinking. It's no use over analyzing a problem from that state of mind. You want to get back to that clear mind. And like I said, it's getting to know your own feelings as almost as a Tao. I'm back. I'm feeling that openness again. And now I can problem solve. I can see the patterns emerging from my life. Does that make sense now?
Yes, that makes sense. And yes, I love that you had Russell Brunson as one of your clients, which is amazing. He is an extraordinary human being and generous.
It's very
Know that. And
but I often see that people who are highly successful, they have this generosity in them. They know that they didn't get where they are by just doing things on their own. So it's interesting how the ripple effect, I understand that concept.
So the first step is to tame your dragon, then you train it, then you get it to fly. Can you walk us through those stages?
Okay, the taming part has to do with recognizing where your emotions are coming from. And like I said before, it's you create it with your own mind. And the first time I heard this, I was like, no, what are you talking about? But once you think this through, so you get signals, you get stimuli from the environment. And for humans, it's mostly things that we can see and then that we can hear. So it's literally, when you think of it, it's light waves reaching your eyes and sound waves reaching your eardrums. But that's just raw data. It has no meaning. And then your mind, your brain has to give meaning to it. And only after your mind has interpreted that, is telling you a story about that, will you have a feeling. But that's also true about your memories. So sometimes you would go back in your past and relive an experience. But once again, it's thought created. You are thinking about it. You're telling yourself something about an incident. And then once you've interpreted it, there's a story attached to it. Now you get the feeling. But you can always look at things in a different way. But it's not even really that. It's more powerful almost to realize, oh, I live almost in a dream state. I do not experience the world direct. I am experiencing my own thinking. That's creating feelings for me. That's the taming part for me. It's like, it's realizing it's more of an insight. Oh, it's not the outside world. It's me projecting my interpretation onto the world. Okay, that's the taming part. Do you have questions before I?
Oh, yes. No, then the flying part. I do want to go back a little bit after we get to the third stage and we've gone through because I want to interject some emotions, how emotions are magnifiers sometimes, or interpretations.
Okay, so I say the second part is then the taming part. And that is also, it's something I also referred to before. It's getting a taste for your feelings and realizing what the feelings, what their role is in your life. And they give you feedback on the quality of your thinking. So when you are feeling very depressed and very overwhelmed, impatient, whatever negative feeling you're having, it's a sign for you that you are thinking something that's not really helpful. That's all. That's the taming part of it. And it's also the other, the flip side of it, the positive part. It's knowing when you are in a clear state of mind, when you are home, as I would call it, when, artists would say they are in the groove and athletes would say they are in the zone. That feeling, getting a taste for that, understanding, oh, when I feel like that, I have this flush of goodness in me. And that is a good place to create from, to make decisions from, to analyze things, to come up with new ideas. Because often when you are in that state, it feels as if your ideas, your insights are coming out of the blue. So it's almost like you have to reconnect to that part of almost the universal mind. All the knowledge in the world that has been, Carl Jung talks about this. It's like when you're in the flow, you have access to that. But for that, you have to settle down and quiet down. So that's, for me, that's the tame part of it. It's understanding, oh, and when I have this beautiful feeling of being in flow, now it's a good time. Okay, and then the flying, it's almost there's the link between thinking, feeling, acting. So all of your behavior, all of your actions are driven by your feelings. And when you realize that, oh, I can deliberately on purpose create positive feelings in myself, that will lead to more effective and easier and almost effortless action. Now you are flying the dragon. Does that make sense? Is there, or do you have, you must have a ton of
Yes,
questions.
I do have a ton of questions. Yes, and it's wonderful how you explain that, Risa. And really love the parallel between flying and being in the zone, being in the groove, accessing it almost like you're accessing a universal power and just channeling it into your life. And I think that's really a beautiful place to be. And it's a place of creativity also. So what if there are situations though that are so emotionally charged that they become entrenched in some situations? Like there's a whole tsunami of emotions that might enter a person when a set of circumstances come up, like a very traumatic part in their lives that might pull up almost an inability to access the zone or that.
One thing I don't do is minimize that experience. I mean, we are not denying the painfulness of it. When you experience that, it can feel very real. And I mean, I've been traumatized in my life, so I know how it feels. But the important thing to realize is how fleeting thoughts are and how fleeting emotions are. If I know this is the research on the emotion side of it, if you do not mess with an emotion, and with mess, I mean, you tell it the same story over and over again, it will pass through your body, because that's what an emotion is. It's a vibration in your body that you created with your own thinking. It will pass in 90 seconds, a minute and a half. So if you realize, and I mean, I said emotions is 90 seconds, but thoughts are even, the thinking itself is even more transient, more fleeting. And when you realize, okay, let me use this analogy. Your mind is a little bit like, but the blue sky is there. And it's almost as if you have a natural innate to being in flow, in being in good emotional health. And if you can see the thinking and the feelings, the experience it creates for you as almost as thoughts, just going past your consciousness. And I often tell my clients, you can have a thought, but don't let the thought have, when you grip onto it. Oh, I do it all the time. It's like, I'm not above this, but if you can see that more, and especially with habitual thinking, not to continue thinking, but to just settle. And it's when you say, when it's that intense, I would also almost call it a thought storm. There are so much thinking, and your thinking gets all sped up. It's faster. And the way how I know I'm not in a good place is everything looks urgent. But suddenly, because I'm stressed, now I have to take care of it. That's how you know. But that's also a sign for me to step back and just not think, just be. Just sit in a chair and don't follow the thoughts. That there's that scene in The Lord of the Rings where they are walking through that battlefield where there are dead people everywhere. And the guide Gollum is telling Frodo, do not follow the lights. So I often have to remind myself and my clients, do not follow the lights, because the lights will drown you. The thoughts will pull you in. So it's definitely, there's some skill to it, but it's also almost more of a feeling to realize when you are thinking and to see a thought as a thought and to just not engage with it any further, to let it pass, because thoughts are very, very fleeting. So you want to quiet your mind for a long enough time that you do not default to the habitual thinking, that you can plug into that universal mind that we talked about and get fresh thinking, fresh ideas about whatever situation it was that you were in, even if it's in your past or happening right now.
So the first thing is to recognize that you're in a place that's not serving you.
Yes.
And then you stop your thinking.
If you can. So go for a walk, for instance. It's like, just do something else. Yes.
Okay. And interrupt, maybe even do some breathing, go into another room. Just
all those things would stop the thinking. It stopped that habitual pattern. Yes.
So very simple things that we have control over. But Is this an area that you work a lot in with your clients? Because I see where it might be because we're habitual thinkers and
All of us want to send that habitual thinking. It's like, just reprogram ourselves. Yeah, I see it all happening, but it's also that realization when I am in the flow, when I'm in the zone, that's actually who I truly am. If we can all realize that about ourselves, and then we have this amazing mind when we can really problem solve well and come up with wonderful ideas from that place. So it's almost balancing the two things, but because you create the experiences yourself, there's not a good or a bad experience. That's why I almost said happiness gets a bad rap. It's not about being happy all the time. It's realizing where the happiness is coming from. All experiences are valid. We don't want to discount some of them, but some feeling experiences that you create are more useful. They will lead to better outcomes and better actions.
Are there tools that you suggest for people to use to be able to stop the thinking? Or are there ways to just calm the mind down, like meditating? Breathing comes to mind too. Breathing, breath work.
What's so amazing about this way that I'm coaching, and it's not been that long, it's about 6 months that I really started coaching in this framework. Not so much. So I love to meditate. I love yoga nidra to, it's especially to just like calm down my brain. But it's more than meditation. It's almost living in a meditative state all the time. When you realize, why am I thinking this way? Oh, it's something I'm thinking. And then you snap out of it in a split second. And the minute you can see it, you've escaped from the bondage of that system. You're free again to see, oh, it's my mind. And I can interpret this I can interpret anything in thousands of different ways. And some of them will be more useful and will help me to get to better outcomes.
I love that. The self-knowledge increases, the insight into oneself increases and expands. And you used a word in there too. It's a transformative state that we can achieve. So please talk some more about that. Are there any examples that you come across of how people use their individual personal insights to transform themselves? And in what way?
I recorded a testimonial of a client only last week, and that's exactly what he said. He was getting very anxious. And then, that typical thing that you often see with entrepreneurs, waking up early in the morning and just getting so overwhelmed and telling himself, what have I done? I should have stayed in my job. This is so hard. And when I can come back and say, okay, the anxiety I'm having right now is me. And that's okay. It's okay to be anxious, but I have everything. That's the other thing of being connected to the universal mind. It's like an in real time access to intelligence. So when trouble comes, I will know exactly what to do. I can trust myself when I calm myself down, when I come home. And you understand that I'm calling come home metaphorically, right? When I'm there, I'm present. I will know what to do if I can calm my mind down enough. So I've seen it pretty recently, but it happens all the time. They just get it, and then they are so much more peaceful. They have a lot more confidence, and like I said, things become easier. There's a lot less efforting happening in their businesses.
Right. This is a skill that you help your business owners develop, a way to gain some insight into their emotions, but also decision making. So
it is, but it's like you make all of us, we make such better decisions when we are in that clear state of mind, when we are our best selves, our default self, I would almost say. When living from that wisdom is very powerful for most people, I would say for everyone.
Wow. And that's so great to hear from you. Your energy is so nice to be around too. And I think possibly some people they incorporate some of your joy and happiness into their lives because they're working with you and transform their lives and their businesses to the next level. You're inspiring.
You are too. Thank you for having me and giving me.
Oh, Well, if you can stay on a little bit longer, had a late start. I hope that's okay.
That's okay. I can stay.
Because I wanted to find out more about what is your process of working with your clients? Where do you start and how do you work with them? Do you meet with them once a week or every other day, or do they decide
I like
how
to,
often?
for the first 12 weeks, I like to work with them once a week. We meet for an hour and I really listen well. Sometimes we just need someone to hear us out. So there's a lot of that. Usually I don't talk so much in my sessions as I'm talking to. It's like, so it's just listening and explaining to people how their mind works. What's this dragon thing? So it takes about 12 weeks, 3 months for people in that new reality. I'm just thinking of this current client of mine that, the one with the testimonial. Yes, for 12 weeks, I met with him once a week explaining it. And there was this one, let me share that analogy that he had. He loves that one. It's like sometimes something just lands for someone. So because we cannot describe our mind directly, we use a lot of metaphors and analogies. And this is the one that he liked. It's when you are connected to Wi-Fi. So it almost became a shorthand between the two of us. I would ask him, are you on Wi-Fi or are you on cell data? And he's like, Risa, I'm on Wi-Fi. I know what to do with this. So it's understanding that. So it takes a little while for people to get it because it's actually a little counterintuitive that you are creating the experience. We are like fish in water. It feels as if it's the outside world creating the experience. So getting used to that idea, no, it's the other way around. It takes a couple of weeks. And then usually after a while, so this client, for instance, now I only meet with him every second week. It's just checking in. And he just likes to talk through his day. The other question I would often ask him, how much static is there in the attic? And that's how we kind of gauge his clarity of mind.
Amazing. Amazing. So in your first meeting, how do you introduce what you do to your new client?
Tough because it's so counterintuitive, but it's creating that space where people feel I'm really listening to them. That really, I find that creates good rapport. When you're not fighting with their experience, you validate it, but you keep introducing to them the concept that they are the creators of the experience.
Oh, yes, we are the creators of our experience, accepting that responsibility and also embracing it so that it can become,
Yes.
it's who we are. And we're working under your guidance to be able to not have debilitating feelings and thoughts control our lives.
Yes.
We control the thoughts.
Can I give you another analogy?
Please, would love it. Yes, please.
I don't know if you know those party trick jelly beans that can taste horrible or they can taste very nice, but you can't tell from the color of it. So you pick one and you chew it, and it's like some of it. We did it the other day as a family. It was old bandages. It's like the taste it's really horrible taste. So sometimes when you think of some of your thoughts, they are like that. They are like a jelly bean that's really not tasting well. And you want to spit it out as soon as possible. So that's why I'm saying to have to develop a kind of a taste for the quality of your thinking. But any analogy, it makes it more real, makes it more concrete for people to get these concepts.
Wow, I like the yellow and the lime jelly beans. I'm not so much of a black licorice person, but that's me. And everybody's got their thing.
Yeah.
But that's a fun thing. It sounds like you bring fun into your sessions with your clients too.
But that's the other part of when you are in the zone is usually there's a sense of perspective and usually there's a sense of humor. You can laugh at yourself and you can laugh a little at life, even though could have had terrible experiences. That sense of humor, it returns, and it's such a gift.
Oh, I bet. What's can you recall something recently where a joke that one of your clients came up with on the spot? I know there are probably so many.
But it's more subtle. No, it's not really a joke. It's more that feeling between two souls meeting and laughing about something that the world is ending. And then you realize, oh no, it's just me going to lose money or whatever it is that we're making a big deal out of it and just laughing about that. But I would say in my family, definitely we would We laugh a lot about taking ourselves so seriously.
Not taking ourselves so seriously opens up the door for creating other ways of being that we may not have thought of before. And I hear that laughter is also the door to creativity.
Yes.
What do you think?
I would definitely, everything releases, it's like it becomes loose and easy. Yes.
So when do you recognize that your client is making a breakthrough?
The feeling. They feel, and you can see it. It's like, and sometimes it's just the gleam in their eyes. You can see their faces lit up. Oh, think of it that way. It's like, yeah, that's one of my favorite things in the world, when I can see that happening.
And then they can too. They can also see that happening.
And they can feel it. They feel it
and
in
they
their
can
bodies.
feel
Yes.
it. So all of the box get checked, and
There's progress.
then there's
Yes.
progress, and little at a time, because I think personality, some are a little more resistant than others, and
It's true.
it takes
Yes.
a little more work than others.
But it's important to realize that because it's about insight, it can happen in a split second. In this coaching modality that I'm using, we have this saying, I'm only one thought away from feeling amazing.
Right.
One thought can just like flip the switch for you.
Right. And Russell Brunson is famous for one click away, one thought away. And
One thought away.
absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And like the difference between boiling water is just 1 degree, isn't it? Regular
Yes.
water and boiling water, just 1
That
degree.
is, wow, I love that. I'm going to use that one now.
I didn't originate it, but please go ahead. There's so many others that I learned from, and including you. Question: is there anything that keeps you up at night?
I'm not a very good sleeper, so ever so often it would just come back, because I'm human too. I'm also that fish in water. So sometimes I just wake up so anxious, just like my client, and it takes me a minute to, it's my thinking. It's happening again, and then snapping out of it. But it's definitely becoming easier and easier too. I worry about my children, and then oh, you forgot about their innate intelligence. They will be able to sort out their lives. You can just let them go.
And now that you mentioned your children, I can see how this could be something that one of your clients who might be a parent could teach their children some of the same principles and techniques that they're learning from you. So they could be
I can see it definitely spreading into all of their relationships, not only in their businesses as well, because I've seen it in my life as well. Yes.
Yeah. Is there an example you can give to us that would help us remember how impactful having the skill can be?
My son has a very long commute, and it's getting worse. I think it's worse in winter, and he gets very frustrated about that. And I could tell, at some point I was getting very dramatic about it. That's not a way to live. Spending more than 2 hours a day on the road. And then we talked about it, but it's like, but the insight must come from him. It's especially as a mom, I'm like, you have to understand that. My daughter would tell me, Mom, no coaching, no unsolicited coaching, because she's so quick to see that. So it's more than a discussion, it's a conversation, and asking him, okay, how can you make the best of this? And now he loves stories. So for his birthday, we got him an Audible subscription. And now he's just listening to stories while he's driving. So it actually became this beautiful time in his life. Instead of stressing about getting road rage and this long commute, it became something he's looking forward to. And that's true of, everything. I think it's a silly example, but I hope you get the gist.
Oh, yes, I do. I get the gist. So that making use of his commute, and I heard the expression, a university on wheels. Turn your commute into a university. Listen to books on tape to help your mind stay fresh.
It was interesting to see my own mind, follow the light and go like, this is not good quality of life, those kind of things, telling myself, but it is what it is. That's, it's a choice he's made. And now how do I deal with it in an effective way, even in a fun way?
Yes. Do you record your sessions with your clients so they can have you with them every day of the week?
On request, if people ask. But sometimes
request.
people don't want that, so they just want the total anonymity. Is that how you say it? It's like they can just like share anything with me, and it's not recorded, and totally confidential. So it depends. It definitely depends on the client.
Right.
Some of them want the recording, but others don't.
I would see how they would want you with them every day to keep them on track and keep them
But you see, it's like,
progressing.
but it's them seeing that they can do that. I know sometimes clients would say, I'm asking myself, what would Risa say? It's like, yes, but eventually it's what would you say? How can you get yourself out of it again?
Yes. So you have to take the training wheels off and let them ride and
Yes.
learn how to ride their bike themselves
Yeah.
and just let them go.
I'm a big proponent of empowerment. I want my clients to know that they have it in them. I'm just shining the light for them. It's not me. It's them. But they just have to discover that the blue skies are there. Their innate well-being is available to them always when they quiet their minds enough. But realizing that, bringing them back to that again and again, I think that's kind of my biggest role, my biggest job.
Right. So 3 months typically before you work with
Yes.
them, at least 3 months before they
Yeah. And then they
transition.
want to continue. Yes, they are.
Right.
It's
Well,
like,
that's really quite a short time horizon, I would think, for such an important change in their lives.
yeah,
So
and
it's very effective.
it's transformative. You take it with the rest of your journey.
So you give them a new life skill that can help
Yes.
them become
Yes.
more highly productive and
Have
more
peace. Yes.
be a resource for themselves and their family. And so how do you find your clients? How and what kinds of clients do you want to most work with?
I find people online and then I find people through referrals. It's like the best way is almost like coaching your current clients really well, and then they tell the next person and the next person. So I've gotten quite a few clients in that way. And then doing something like this, that's how I do it. And I just like to work with entrepreneurs. When I realized that that's my passion, because I started my business, I have that entrepreneurial kind of instinct. I like people to really create the businesses they want in a more effortless way.
Well, Elon Musk once said that you're not an entrepreneur unless you've learned how to eat glass. And that is to be able to do things that are unpleasant.
But he's going the hard way, right?
Yes, I guess so.
Perhaps he needs a coach.
Yes, he might. Hey, let's give him a call.
We are fellow South Africans, I come from the same city that he's coming from.
I didn't know that. Oh, that's an interesting piece of trivia. Well, lovely, lovely. Thank you so much, Teresa. And I really enjoyed your time with us here. I think people have gotten a new outlook or view of their own feelings and how much they have control over how they interpret what they're experiencing. And I encourage people to reach out to you if they need help in this area.
Yeah, it starts with a conversation. So if people want to reach out, I do a complimentary consultation and just see if we're going to be a good fit. I like to get to know my clients first. But now I must just say you're such a good listener.
Thank you. I'm
You
learning
don't
from
you don't interrupt. You ask really thoughtful questions. Thank you. You're a very good interviewer.
Oh, well, thank you. I really appreciate that. That's such a high compliment. Thank you, Lisa. So I want to encourage people. So how can people get a hold of you? And I will also drop this information in the YouTube channel after I upload this video, and also for our event registrants.
I'm mostly active on LinkedIn, so that's a good way to connect with me. They can have a look at my website, risaforcoaching.com, and then I'm updating my website at the moment, but there's a button where they can just like book a call with me. I think that would be the easiest way.
Okay, folks. So I will make sure that you get that information so you can get in touch with Risa and take advantage of her complimentary initial consultation and get some more of her really beautiful energy.
It will be my pleasure. Thank you, Nell.
Yeah, thank you. All
Richard,
right.
do you have a question?
Yes. Oh, yes. Do we have any questions? Oh, no, we got a compliment.
No questions.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, we had a lot more people coming and you just stuck it out. You stuck with us. I really appreciate that, Richard. And those who have not been able to follow us here, I will make sure that they get a copy of the recording, and we'll issue this multiple times so that the rest of LinkedIn can take advantage of your wisdom, Risa. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you,
All
Nana.
right. You're very welcome. Okay. Are there any parting words that you would like to say?
You are an amazing, beautiful person,
Oh,
human. And I'm talking to everybody now. It's like reminding them who they truly are. You have it in you to figure out things. You can do it. We can all do that. But just always remind yourself of that.
excellent. So yes, we will remember that. We are beautiful people and we can handle anything. Okie doke. So we'll sign off now and thank you everyone. Yeah, we'll see you again next Wednesday. We may be back on Zoom, but I'll make some adjustments from a lesson that I learned today. Thank you so much for hanging in there with us. And Risa, yeah, let's have you back at some point if you are willing.
I would love to. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, very, very well. All
Good
right,
night.
everybody. So we'll see you the next time and have a great week.